Welcome to Duncan Radio, and what a fun past 15 hours I have had. It may seem like such a small thing in the big scheme of things, which it is, but right now it's hilarious, and I just need to talk about it. One, because it is one of the coolest moments of my life, and hilarity has ensued because of what happened. So as you can tell by the title of this video, Mark Hamill, aka Luke Skywalker, aka one of my heroes, actually quote tweeted me. And it is amazing. He's liked a couple of tweets of mine in the past, but to actually retweet me and then respond to something I said. Oh, and then of course, all the ridiculous comments that you get from Star Wars Twitter, which I knew were coming when I saw Mark MF and Hamill retweeted me here. So I want to go back a little bit. I want to talk about and I want to explain the tweet that I put out a couple of days ago, the being retweeted by Mark Hamill, and then I want to address the hilarious and just angry comments from Star Wars fans, and also I do want to explain my position on this tweet that I put out. So let's go back to yesterday afternoon. I got on Twitter and I had like 20 notifications, and I don't ever get that many notifications. I'm not big and famous on Twitter, so I knew something was up. And then I go into my notifications and I'm seeing all these comments to things, which again, this was a tweet I put out 2 days ago and he just retweeted it yesterday. And I'm looking through these comments like, what happened here? And then I finally get to the bottom where it shows Mark Hamill, the blue check mark, official Mark Hamill himself, retweeted something that I said a couple of days ago, and I said this in jest, okay? I just want to say this was never meant to be taken seriously. I was born and raised a Star Wars fan. And I don't have to defend myself. I really don't. I don't have to explain me as a Star Wars fan to you. I don't need to do that. So let's go back. The tweet that I put out is I said, because Space Force was trending the other day, along with how it was an official from the Israeli government saying that aliens were real and we're just not ready for them. And so this is what I said in response to that. I said, I'm ready, Space Force, ready as Luke was to hop into an X-Wing with no training whatsoever, but somehow still flew it through the trenches and blew up a whole space station. And then, as you can see, Mark Hamill responded to this saying, what do you mean, no training whatsoever? I used to bullseye womp rats in my T-16 back home. Hashtag true story. So when I saw this, my first reaction is, oh my God, one of my heroes has quote tweeted me. This is one of the coolest moments of my life. And as I was saying that, it sounded really sad. But you know what? It is. Wedding day, of course, number one. But the quote tweet here, very close second. So that's amazing. But when I saw that, I was like, oh man, the floodgates have opened, because I knew, reading my comment there and his response and knowing the Star Wars universe, or at least half of the Star Wars universe, because there are a lot of beautiful Star Wars, great people out there. But then, oh man, we've seen it just in the past few years. Look at the responses to Last Jedi alone, and I knew what was coming my way, and I knew what all these comments were about. And it's beautiful. I just want people to know I don't care. I'm just shrugging these comments off. They affect me none at all. One, because Mark Hamill quote tweeted me, so you can't say anything that's going to bring me down from Cloud 9 right now. And two, it's Twitter. I'm not taking any of this seriously, and neither should you. So my comment talking about Luke not having any experience with an X-Wing, and then of course, yes, I get it. I picked the wrong GIF. I didn't think this was going to be quote tweeted, so I didn't really take that much time to I just typed in Luke Skywalker flying an X-Wing, and I just found this cute behind the scenes GIF of him, but it's in the snow speeder in Empire Strikes Back. So of course, big strike against me there. He's not even in an X-Wing, bro. And all these comments, they did not let me down. A lot of people on here saying, you need to go back and listen to the dialogue. You say you're a Star Wars fan, but he's clearly said to Han Solo that he's not a bad pilot himself. I'm like, I know. I have seen Star Wars, and I will explain my thoughts on that scene and all of the details of the original Star Wars movie, because I have listened I know a lot. I am a Star Wars nerd. I've read the books. I've watched the TV shows. I've played the video games, so on and so forth. I'm not saying I know everything, but I know a lot. I know a lot. So, and a lot of these comments just keep going on about, you don't know anything about Star Wars, and delete this comment now. And I was like, evacuate in our moment of triumph? You know, it was like, no, this is my brightest moment. I can't delete this now. And yes, Mark Hamill owned me. Owned me. But I love it. If there's anybody that's going to own me, it's Mark Hamill. It's Luke Skywalker. This is incredible. And again, I don't take any of these comments seriously. I see these people as the same people that a couple of months ago were in that viral video of people running around Target without masks on, blaring that, was that Twisted Sister song, We're Not Gonna Take It, and going, we're not gonna wear masks, it's communism. So I see you as those kind of people. So I don't take any of these, hateful comments seriously. Some people were nice. I got to give credit where credit is due. Some people just politely explained to me that the T-16 that he was talking about with the Womp Rats was not a land speeder. It was an air speeder. And the controls of the T-16 are very similar to the X-Wing because it was like the same company that made it. And I know a lot about Star Wars. I didn't know that, so I do appreciate the knowledge that I do have now. Either way, again, I'll explain my position in a little bit because I'm not just I'm not backpedaling or anything like that. I am standing by what I said. But some of the more of these comments in here, just going off about, again, I just need to quit being a Star Wars fan. You don't pay attention, you're dumb, you don't know anything, you get it, so on and so forth. And then I love some of the other sub-arguments that went with nothing I had said, but people started their own arguments that didn't even include me. Because, I don't know, somebody was like, oh, yeah, this guy probably loves Rey, and he defends Rey about being a Mary Sue, and so he's going off now about Mark Hamill being a Mary Sue, and all this stuff. And then people started debating about the sequel trilogy and all that, and Rey and Kylo and all that. And I was like, man, it's funny that they're all just fighting on their own now. I'm not even a part of this. I'm just a bystander watching all of these hilarious comments. And, pretty much everybody just, they're shooting their shot, man. It was like in Last Jedi where all the AT-ATs, oh, is that not the technical term for those all-terrain armored transports there, shooting on Luke in Last Jedi because maybe the First Order had a different version and they're not AT-ATs anymore. Like, because I know making this video, somebody's going to get me on about that. But I feel like Luke just getting shot over and over again. But again, I don't feel any of it. And like Luke, I shrug it off because it's Twitter. It's Twitter, man. Like, I'm not affected by this. I can shut off Twitter and I just go back to my normal life. All in all, this was amazing. And I have a lot of very nerdy Star Wars friends that didn't feel like they needed to take me down a notch. And no, they're like, dude, that's awesome. You got retweeted by Mark Hamill. That's amazing. And they're jealous. A friend of mine, he got retweeted by Patrick Mahomes. And he was like, man, I think your Luke Skywalker there beat my Patrick Mahomes. And I was like, it might, as much as I love Patrick Mahomes, man. But no, this was awesome. And these comments, they're even right now, they are just flooding in, telling me how horrible I am and I need to watch the movie again. How can you claim to be a Star Wars fan when you don't listen to the dialogue of the movie? You don't know anything. You know what? Listen to me here. I was listening to Figure and Dawn and the Modal Nodes before they dropped their first EP. And this goes to show you what you know. I was actually in the original Star Wars movie. Thank you very much. I was the Gonk droid. So, but it's hilarious. So, let's go back to my tweet because even though I don't need to defend myself, I want to explain this because I want to talk about why I put this out in the first place. One, it was a joke. And some people have sent me tweets, "Oh, it's a joke now because you were caught." I was caught. It's Twitter. And this is all going to go away. You all are going to forget about this probably by now. And so all these people are like, "You got caught." And all these that's why you're saying it's a joke now. No, go back and read my tweet and tell me that's not saying it in jest. The whole thing was a joke, even though, yes, I still believe in this. I am not backpedaling. I still believe in my comment here. But my comment doesn't ruin my love for the movie because I love this movie. I just love pointing out things that every now and then don't make sense. Like, how did C-3PO and R2-D2 just walk across that hallway on the Tainted 4 or 5, whatever that was, and not get shot at the beginning of the movie? Or how did Luke just know how to work that gunner position on the Millennium Falcon? Did Han Solo teach him? But I guess you're just going to be like, but the Force, man. And so, and people are like, how do you like being canceled? How do you like, being destroyed right now? And one guy was like, oh, man, I wish you'd. The one guy was like, maybe if you knew the lore better, because yes, you read a few books, but maybe if you had the lore down, you wouldn't. He was, oh man, I was trying to think of the word that he was using here, but he was like, if you wouldn't be, destroyed, whatever phrase he used there. And I was just like, in quotes, I was like, yeah, destroyed. Oh man, I'm hurting so bad right now because you guys own me. And so no, this was always in jest, but I'm not going back on my comments here because I've been got. It's Twitter, dude. You guys take Star Wars and Twitter way too seriously. And this is coming from a guy who spends all his time reading Star Wars, watching. I love Star Wars. I don't claim to know everything. I do know that Tatooine used to be a full, lush planet until some stuff happened with the atmosphere, and then it turned into, or it was like the war. It was the war that was going on at the time, and turned the whole thing into a desert, and the only things living there were Jawas and the Tusken Raiders. And, and even they were like the same species, but they kind of, sprouted out. But again, I don't need to explain to you that I love Star Wars and that I know some Star Wars stuff. Going back to my tweet, though. Okay. So in this movie, yes, there is that scene in the cantina where Luke's like talking to Han Solo, like, I'm not a bad pilot myself. Okay. Because people brought that up to my attention. Did you not watch that? He said that line himself. Okay, just because a character in the movie said they're good at something doesn't mean me as a viewer just assumes that they are good at that. And then there's that one line that he threw. Oh, it's no different, in my AT. What was it? Before I mess this up, I got to get my facts right. Oh yeah, my T-16 back home shooting womp rats. So I didn't know. I thought that was a land speeder. I didn't know it was a big ship and air speeder, and apparently, he's going through Beggar's Canyon, and so that is all the setup you need to know that he should be able to fly through the trenches of the Death Star. Okay, can you imagine this, though? He, up to this point, to our knowledge, has had no affiliation with the Rebel Alliance. He's had some friends in there, I get it. But can you imagine just walking up to the Navy and saying, I'm a good pilot, and maybe you know some friends in the Navy, and they kind of vouch for you? And then the Navy not only lets you fly in one of their jets, but you take that jet to one of the most dangerous and one of the most important missions you're ever going to be on. You're going to allow this kid you just met today to get in one of these ships, fly out in one of the most dangerous, important missions ever, and just hope that he does well and that he takes this squadron up and he leads us to victory. He flies in against the Empire, up against the Death Star, and blows the whole thing up. I understand that he's got R2 kind of flying this ship. I understand that he is powerful with the Force. But it's just always an observation I made, and it was a joke I made. But guess what? It doesn't bother me. It doesn't ruin this movie. And maybe some people took it that way. Maybe some people took it as, oh, because of this little thing about Luke Skywalker, I can't enjoy the movie. Much like people destroy Rey in the sequels. No, I love the original. This was just all, again, an in-jest joke that I made. It does not ruin the movie for me. It was just an observation. I still stand by it that the movie itself doesn't really give you a lot of evidence that he can actually fly an X-Wing to perfection against the Empire, against the Death Star. And the kind of madness of the Rebel Alliance just letting this guy that they just met take off. But yeah, putting the universe building books and stuff away, the movie itself doesn't do a lot. I get it. He's the son of Anakin Skywalker. But just because your dad is good at something doesn't mean you're good at something. Trust me, my dad's a firefighter, or was a firefighter. He retired. But I would run away from a house that's on fire. And I don't know if I'd be any good at it even if I trained for it. So again, this was all just a big joke. I still claim it's a joke, but I still claim it's just an observation I made. So I'm not backpedaling, but the whole thing was in jest, and I think Mark Hamill took it that way too. Look, I don't think he was being all serious and mad about my comment. And that's that. And I know it's just a retweet that nobody will remember in a few days, and why did I make a 15-minute long YouTube video explaining it? But I I loved it. It's been a hilarious experience. It's been awesome that one of my heroes tweeted me, and I just want to know because of that, no matter what you say, I can't be brought down from Cloud9. All I know is Luke Skywalker quote tweeted me. It's one of the coolest things to ever happen in my life, and I think you all take things way too seriously. Please calm down. Whatever you got to do to just chill out, man. It'll be okay. And yes, I'm a Star Wars fan, even if I could make a comment like that. Because I know things like, oh, Jar Jar Binks in his old age was just a jester at Naboo that would come to town and entertain the children. He was not, in fact, a Sith Lord. And, no, I could go on. Again, I don't need to explain to you my fandom, but that's just... I just wanted to talk about it because it's one of the coolest things ever, and I think some of you are ridiculous. My name is Duncan. This is Duncan Radio. Be good or be good at faking it.